So the next day they got me into the PCU, basically stripped me of like everything. I couldn't have my phone, I couldn't watch TV, I couldn't have visitors. They wouldn't let my mom step foot into my room or my dad or any family. Austin was the only one that was allowed in my room. The blinds had to be closed at all times. It was a mental, it was like, I told Austin, I was like, I feel like I am in some weird science experiment and these people want to like deliver me. Like they want my baby to die. Like that's how I felt. And I know that's not true, but that's just how I felt. And it was just such a mental game. The doctor came in on Sunday and this is the doctor that, you know, there was a lot of like social differences. I should add that my OB was on a family trip over the weekend and they called my OB on Friday night very late while he was on a family trip, and they asked him what they should do and he said nobody touch her until I get there on Monday. No one's going to deliver her until I see her. He was like, get her blood pressure under control. So that is like my OB, my regular OB is like totally the reason why this whole situation worked out for us. He saved Riker's life. And Sunday the high risk doctor came in and I just felt like I was being attacked all the time. Like he would come in and say like, gosh, if you don't get your blood pressure numbers down, we're gonna have to deliver you, and 10% chance your baby's gonna live and 90% chance he's gonna die. And I'd be like, are you kidding? Like, you're just saying this so casually and it's just not, it just didn't feel okay to me at all. I felt like I was just in this nightmare and like, I felt like no one was on my team at all. And then he would leave and be like, I check her blood pressure. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? The blood pressure cuff did not leave my arm. They checked it, I want to say every 15 minutes. It was just a battle. And it's like, he would come in and say those things and my stress level would go up and my blood pressure would go up, and it felt like they wanted to deliver me. I know that's not accurate at all, but that's just how it felt. The nurses were amazing. They would like literally hold my hand and be like, he's not God. He doesn't know what's gonna happen. Focus on 1 hour at a time. Just focus on now. And that honestly helped me so much because I couldn't handle it mentally. And then obviously if we're delivering super early, the NICU team is gonna be involved. So the NICU doctor came in and it was not good. When you're talking about delivering before 24 weeks, there's not a good chance of your baby surviving. So it was hard. So the NICU doctor came to talk to us on Sunday, and I think the problem was, I don't think her personality meshed well with Austin's personality. There was like a huge tension in the room when she was talking to us, and it was rough. I keep saying it's rough, but like, guys, you cannot even imagine. And it's a hard spot for the doctor to be in because they need to be very upfront with the family about the situation and the risks involved. And I do not blame her one bit for being blunt and straightforward with us. Do I think she could have showed a little bit more compassion? Maybe. I don't know. I think we were all just not in a good place. Her and Austin just needed to stay away from each other. I've never in my life seen Austin like this with anyone before. He was not holding anything back, to put it lightly. She told us that if she delivered a 22-weeker, she would not feel comfortable resuscitating that baby. Basically, you know, putting the tube down their throat and putting them on a ventilator to resuscitate them. And Austin was like, well, you know, we would do whatever to try and save our baby. And she's like, yeah, but we need to talk about like quality of life. Like, and she would list, you know, a long list of like things that could possibly go wrong with the baby. And Austin's like, you're talking like this is going to happen, but you don't know. And it was just like, oh gosh, like buckle up. He's like, you're just being negative about everything. Tone it down, babe. Like, we're all just like on edge. And she's like, I'm just telling you how it is. Like, you know, of course miracles can happen, but you know, scientifically a baby's lungs are not developed at 22 weeks. It can't survive, and they just like went at it like back and forth, and I'm just sitting there like, this is a freaking nightmare. She was like, I really think you guys need to consider compassionate care is where you, after you deliver the baby, basically let your baby pass away in your arms and you just cherish those moments, and it's a very peaceful way to go about it rather than trying to resuscitate and basically having everything in the book go wrong. I was so numb at this point. I didn't even know what to think. You know, obviously I trust doctors' opinions. They know more about this than we do. That's just how it is. And Austin was just, he was not letting it go. He was like, gosh. He was like, you're not welcome back in our room until we make it to 24 weeks. He was like, I don't want to see you in here. I have never seen Austin like this before. What is going on? And when she came back in, you know, a couple weeks later, she's like, well, I see you don't have a dartboard with my face on it. And that was just kind of their relationship. She was super blunt and she would tell you how it is, and Austin would just like fire back, and that's just the way it was. And honestly, like I'm grateful for Austin and him sticking up for us. I felt like this was over. I sent a text to our friends, like our very close-knit group of friends, and I left Austin out of the text. I said, guys, like, Austin is trying to be super positive, and like the fact of the matter is that Riker's probably not gonna make it, and we all just need to be prepared because this is not gonna be a good outcome at all. And I just remember, like, doctors started leaving the room, and I just went to the bathroom and I just cried. I just silently cried to myself, and I was like, this isn't fair. This is not fair. This is not fair to Riker. Like, how could I do this to a baby? And like in that moment, I just said goodbye to him because like I just felt like he deserved so much more than like what my body had to offer. It was so hard. And like I was just ready to like be done with it. I think I was just numb at that point. I just felt so guilty. Like, how could I do this? And I felt so dumb. It's like I tried so hard to get pregnant. I was like, there's a reason why I couldn't. My body just can't handle it. And having to put this baby in, like, I just truly felt like all along Riker deserved so much more than what I was able to give him. Like I said before, it was a mental battle. I truly felt like I was mentally unstable. Just everything. I think honestly, because everything happened so quickly. It's just amazing how life can change in an instant. And so they ended up putting me on 3 different antidepressants and something else that basically made me sleep all day because I could not handle it. I would be having breakdowns like all day, every day. I just felt like my world was crashing, and I told him, I was like, I can't do this. Like I mentally can't do this. And that's when they put me on the antidepressants, which honestly was, I feel like it's what I needed. Obviously, I don't need to take those normally, and I don't take them anymore. But for bed rest, it was more than necessary for me. Every day was a battle with my blood pressure. I think the highest I saw it get up to was 193 over 110, or I can't remember the bottom number, but they would take it like every 30 minutes, and then if it was high, they would have to treat me. They'd take it again. It was high, they'd have to treat me, and the meds were so strong and made me so sick. It was awful. I can't even describe it. Leading into, I made it a week. In my mind, I was like, I feel like if I can make it to 24 weeks, I feel like I can make it to 26 weeks. And if I can make it to 26 weeks, I felt like I could make it to 28 weeks. And if I could make it to 28 weeks, I felt like I would feel so much better about the situation. So we kind of like, we set up a calendar and we'd mark off every day. And I watched a lot of TLC because that's the only thing that wouldn't raise my blood pressure. I had like, what, 6 channels? It was so dumb, but just like watching the clock every day, it was just grueling. Honestly, when it would hit like 2 o'clock, I'd be like, yes, I made it to 2 p.m. If I can make it to 2 p.m., I can make it through the night. It was a war, but like I felt like we were like every day was like fighting battles. Eventually like the days passed and luckily I was pretty out of it to where I just didn't even know what was going on anymore. I was so drugged up and my blood pressure was actually like starting to line out. I don't know why, but they thought if I showered my blood pressure would spike. So I was only allowed to shower like once a week and that was really hard for me as well. Just like not seeing daylight was so hard. My body was like totally breaking down. I got to go outside for like 10-15 minutes one time throughout my 3 weeks of bed rest and it was so bright outside like I couldn't even open my eyes to see anything. It was so nice to get some fresh air and they let me shower afterwards and unfortunately after that things started to get really bad after I hit 24 weeks. So one thing about bed rest is that your muscles break down and your body starts to ache because you're not allowed to get up. Like even if I wanted like a banana across the room, like I had to call my nurse so she could get up for me. They were like, you don't get up unless you have to go to the bathroom and come back to bed. Because I was getting in trouble. Like I would get up and like wipe my room down and like pick up a little bit. Like I didn't like the clutter and they would come in and be like, no, like you get back in your bed and you don't get to get up unless you go to the bathroom. And so that was really hard. When you're on bed rest for a long time as your muscles start to break down and I was definitely experiencing that. I was in so much pain. My body was just aching all the time, just losing that muscle. And so Austin ordered me this hospital mattress and we put it on my hospital bed and my body was like finally starting to feel better because it was so comfy, the mattress was. A couple days later from the time I got to go outside, which was when I hit 24 weeks, it was like midweek. I was like 24 and 3 days probably. The days would kind of pass and I would realize like, oh, my back hurts. It's just my right side though. Like my left side was fine, but my right side hurt so bad. And I was like trying to figure out, so I like changed positions and try to lay on different spots or whatever. I thought it was just like from the bed rest, but turns out it was my kidney shutting down. I told my nurse, I was like, I've got a lot of back pain right here. Her face just like went blank and next thing I knew they were taking my blood for labs to get my kidney levels. Is it creatinine, I think? I don't know. My kidneys were not doing very good and the nurse practitioner was like, really, I should deliver you right now, but I'm not going to. She's like, we're gonna wait one more day and see if this lines out. Maybe this is just a fluke thing, which I was really grateful for, of course. But the next day, my liver started to really hurt bad and every day they would ask, you know, do you have pain right here, which is like where your liver is, and I was saying no, and then it started to hurt really, really bad. And I told my nighttime nurse and she was like, are you sure though? I was like, listen, I don't want to say that this is happening, but it is. Like, I'm in a lot of pain. And so the next day they took my blood for labs and turns out both my liver and kidneys were not doing great. They were in the beginning process of shutting down. They were like, we have to deliver you. There's no choice. Like, this can be fatal for you and for the baby. And I was being monitored all the time. Riker was doing so great on the monitors, and I can't remember. I think it was on a Wednesday, and they were planning on delivering me on a Friday. And that Wednesday and Thursday night, things got so bad. It's like hard to describe because I've never experienced anything like this before, but I could literally feel my body shutting down. I couldn't even walk across my room without throwing up. My poor nurses were like cleaning up my puke all the time. I couldn't breathe. Like, I couldn't breathe at all. I felt like I was dying. Like, that sounds so dramatic, but like I did. I couldn't breathe. My voice was just like so weird. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't. And I feel like if you have been on bed rest like for this, you know what I'm trying to say, because it's like the worst. But you can't really describe it other than like you can feel your organs shutting down. So I just like hung tight Austin was like, we have to make it to Friday. You can do this. He was like my biggest cheerleader. I ate so good on bed rest. My mom brought me every single meal, even though she wasn't allowed in the room. And finally I was just like, my mom's gonna eat with me. Like the nurses would like stop anyone that would try to come in my room. So towards the end I was like, you know what? I'm having some visitors. I need people to talk to. Like I feel like I'm going crazy in here. So eventually my mom was able to come, and my dad too, and Austin's family came a couple of times, which was awesome. But so Thursday night they put me on a mag drip. They put the monitors on as they did every night. The next day I was scheduled to deliver my 25-week-old baby at 11 o'clock in the afternoon. So we'll get into we'll get into that craziness in the next video. Alright, well my camera is about to die, so I'm going to switch batteries, and then I'm going to do the next video, which is going to be all about my delivery and C-section and all that. So thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. See you in the next video.